We're going to do number 12. And let's write that down. So it's y equals x plus 9. Y equals x plus 9. And y equals x plus 3. Y equals x plus 3. Let's make them different colors. Make it a little bit easier to differentiate the two. Let's go with that green. All right, so there's our two equations. I'm not even using graph paper. I'm just going to show you. You can do this without graph paper. You don't have to be real perfect with these graphs. Like on that one that I did in the other honors class that hopefully you'll watch if you have a question on it. It was number 7. It went to 32. So I didn't like count down or count up all the way to 32. I kind of guesstimated where 32 would be. All right, and that's what I'm going to basically do right here as well. All right. Oops, didn't want that. All right, here we go. So let's graph them both just to give us an idea of what's going on. So y equals x plus 9. So I don't know, 9. Let's say 9 is about right there. Okay. And it says y equals x. What's the slope of this?
1.
It's 1. So 1, 1, about right there. Okay. Again, it doesn't really matter if I'm that exact with this. This is just to give us a good visual idea of. Oops, oh, messing up. Oh, no wonder. I gotta hit the shift key and hit control. There we go. Alright, this is just to give us a visual idea of what's going on so that we kind of have a basic understanding and we can see what's happening. 3, if that's 9, 3 is probably around here somewhere. Okay? And then the slope is the exact same thing, isn't it? Up 1, over 1, probably about like that. Like that, and then like that. Now they both have the same slope, so what should be true about them? They should be what? The two lines should be what? If they have the same slope, should be parallel to each other. All right, now here's the deal. In the other problem, they gave you 1 point and a line, right? And you had to find the distance between that point and the line. So it was the perpendicular distance, wasn't it? Right here, you got to find the distance between these two lines. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick a point on one line and draw perpendicular to the other line. So which point are we going to pick? I mean, we could pick this one. We could pick. I wouldn't pick this one right here because I don't know exactly where that point is, do you? Would you agree? So I would pick a point that I actually know. All right, pick one of the ones that I used on the graph. And what's the easiest way to do this is to pick one of the intercepts, one of the y-intercepts. It's not the only way to do it. It's the easiest way to do it. Don't you want to do things the easiest way? I do, for the most part. Okay, I gotta admit. So watch. You could do this. You could pick this point and then find the distance from here to here. Or you could pick this point and find the distance from this point to this line, that perpendicular distance. It doesn't make any difference. You'll get the same exact answer in the very end. So which one do you want to pick? The 9 or the 3?
3.
The 3? Okay, I heard 3, so we'll do the 3. So we're going to go from here, where? Perpendicular, right. And I'll put the little right angle there so I know that it's perpendicular. Everybody with me so far? Now, I know one of the points on that pink line, or purple line, whatever color that is. Magenta, maybe. You ever hear that word? So what's that point right there? It's 0, 3, right. How did I know that was 0, 3? Because it's the y-intercept of the green line, exactly right. So I know exactly where it is. I don't have to guess. I know that's exactly 0, 3. What am I trying to find? What's all the work all about? Finding that point right there. And you're right, we call it xy. Okay? The work really isn't finding the distance. The work, most of the work, is to find that point. Do you agree? All right, so that's what we have to do. Now, this right here is what we're trying to find. It's the intersection of what two lines? Give me colors.
Yellow.
The yellow
Green.
and the green. This point intersects the green, the magenta. Now you like my word, don't you? The magenta. All right, so it's the yellow and the pink or purple, okay, or magenta. We'll call it magenta. I like that. All right. It's a very photography type of word. Did you know that? It is. It is. CMYK? No, nobody's heard of that? CMYK. Yeah, you've heard of that. If you're in your book, you better have heard of that, right? What is the C?
Camera.
Cyan. What is the M?
Magenta.
Magenta.
Yellow.
Yellow. K stands for black.
How does that stand for black?
Because it does.
What?
It's CMYK. Because, yeah, B could be blue, right? So they use K because it ends with a K. That's what they use. All right, here we go. What we want to try to do is find that point. So the whole reason that I wanted you to see what two lines intersected is because those are the two equations that I want to use. I want to use the equation of the yellow line, and I want to find the equation of the pink line, or the magenta line. Okay? So and what's nice about this is I already know one of them without doing any work at all. Which one is it? Which line is it?
The green line.
Okay, well, let's try this again.
Magenta.
Listen to what I'm saying. This point right here, it's the intersection of what two lines? The magenta and the yellow. Okay, so what two equations do we need? Which one of those, the magenta or the yellow, do we already know?
The yellow.
The yellow. Okay, it's the yellow. So we're going to use that as one of our equations. I'm just going to rewrite it. And I always like to do what to these? To hang on to them, save for later. Right, put them in a box. Okay? So that's one line. I didn't have to do anything, did I? I already know what the equation is. So where's all the work? All the work is to find the equation of the pink one, and then we do some more work to find the point of intersection between the two. Okay? So now, let's find the equation of the pink line. We already know a point, 0, 3. And I also know what else. Actually, I know two things without even hardly having to think about it, right? So I know this. I know the y-intercept. What's the y-intercept of that pink line? It's positive 3, isn't it? Right? Because it's at that point right here. What else do I know about the pink line? Slope. What's the slope of the pink? It's negative reciprocal of this slope. Well, this slope was a positive 1. What's the negative reciprocal? It's negative 1. That's right, because 1 over 1 is reciprocal, isn't it? You with me? All right, so now how can we write? It's very easy now. We just write y equals what? Right, negative 1x, or just negative x plus 3. And what do I do with that? Put that, well, put it in a box first. Okay? I like to put it in a box. Now, we're going to take those two things. Now, I do that for a reason. I do that so that you remember which two equations you're going to work with, okay? Because there are times, it doesn't look like on this problem it's going to be that complicated, but there are problems where you're going to have fractions, you're going to have numbers, arithmetic, all over the place. And I want to make sure that I remember what I'm supposed to go back and look at. You know what I mean? So that's why I put it in a box. And I think if you do that, I think that might help you out a little bit. Okay? So now let's go different color here. Now, what am I going to do to these two things that are in the boxes? Set them equal to each other. Why? Because they're both equal to what?
90.
No, 90. Where's 90?
Why? They're both equal to
They're
y.
both equal to y. They're
They're
both equal to y, so if they're both equal to y, shh, settle down. I know this is exciting stuff, but you need to contain yourselves a little bit. All right. So we set them equal to each other. So I'm going to take x plus 9, set it equal to negative x plus 3. The arithmetic is very easy on these. You don't have all these crazy fractions. All right, so it's pretty simple. I add an x to both sides, right? And that's going to give you a 2x. And I subtract a 9 from both sides, and that's going to give you a negative 6. Divide both sides by 2, so x is negative, what? Negative 3. Divide by 2. All right, so it's negative 3. So that's my x. Now I got to solve for y. I could use either one of these equations. It does not matter. I could use this one, or I could use this one. It doesn't make any difference. Which one do you want to use? The negative x plus 3? Okay. So y equals negative x, which is what?
3.
It's negative 3, correct? So it's positive 3, and then plus 3. So again, that's positive 3 plus 3, so y is 6. What did we just find? We just found that x and y right there. And that's what the key to this whole problem is to find that x and y. Let's see, that was negative 3, 6. Does it look like it's probably negative 3, 6? Negative 3, 6, yeah, definitely does, okay? Now, if I would have had like positive 6, negative 3, would that have been right? No, because if you look at your graph, positive 3 and negative 6 would be down here. You're like, oh, did something wrong. Go back and figure out what you did wrong. Make sense?
Yep.
Right. And you're practically done now, aren't you, Sarah?
So how do we get that M and B at
Which M and B?
the end? Like the 3 and the -1.
Right here?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at this, the pink line, right? Because that goes with this one. The y-intercept, the B, is 3. And how did I know that? Because I started at the y-intercept of the green one, and I said I'm going to go from here up to here. So I know that point right there has got to be 3. So that's why the y-intercept is 3. Now the -1, it's the slope. Remember, the yellow line is perpendicular to the pink line, and the slope of two lines that are perpendicular have negative reciprocals. Their slopes are negative reciprocals, okay? So I looked at the slope of this yellow one. The slope of this yellow one was 1. And so I took the opposite sign and I flipped it. When I flip a 1, it doesn't change it. It stays 1. So that's the negative reciprocal. Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, you always take, if you're finding the slope of this one and it's perpendicular to the yellow one, yeah, you always take the negative reciprocal of this slope. That's how I found this slope right here. It's the only way I could have found that slope, is knowing that it was perpendicular, and so I take the negative reciprocal of it. Make sense? Okay. This was a nice, easy problem to work with because you didn't have to worry about all the crazy fractions. Sometimes we get bogged down so much on those big fractions that you kind of lose the big picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you watch the YouTube video tonight of number 7, there's a lot of fractions on it, okay? And you have a tendency to get bogged down on it because of all the fractions. But on this one, it worked out real nice and pretty. We're still not finished though, are we? No, you got to find the distance, but really, that's really not, I don't think that's what our struggle is, do you? Yes. Well,
Are we gonna have like fraction problems on our test?
we could, yeah. I mean, if I go over them, if I take the time and go over them for you in class, absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying absolutely you will have one, but is it an option? Absolutely it is. Okay. So now, let's do the distance. Let's finish this up. Might as well. So it's -3 minus 0, right? Subtract the x's from each other, and then subtract the y's from each other. 6 minus 3. -3 minus 0 is -3 squared is 9. Positive 9, because when you square negative, it's always positive. And then 6 minus 3 is 3. Squared is 9. That's the square root of 18. You can keep it just like that if you want to. I don't mind. Just keep it the square root of 18. Now, if you look at it, this is 2 times 9, isn't it? 9 plus 9 is 2 times 9. Would you agree? So if you wanted to simplify the radical, what's the square root of 9? 3, and then the square root of 2. So if you wanted to do it that way, you could. Or if you wanted to plug it into a calculator, get some decimal number, you could do that too. 4.4 something, or yeah, 4.2, is that what it is? Okay. But I'm fine with this. I would just keep it the square root of 18, to tell you the truth. That was about as basic as it gets right there, because there wasn't any hard math on that at all, was there? Pretty
Something
easy.
like that.
All right, you want to do one that's maybe a little more difficult?
Can you do
Number 7. I already did. Right. I did that in the other class. You watch it tonight. What's that?
11 or 10? One with like one that has the B but doesn't have.
Well, the B would just be 0, right? I mean, it has a B. It's just not written in there. It would just be 0. So what do you want, 10 or 11? 11? Okay. Are they more difficult than the others?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay. Y equals -5x.
I don't know how I did that one.
Now, you do have homework tonight, so if you're okay with this stuff and you want to start working on the assignment, it's that study guide. I gave you the slip right at the beginning of the week. So you can start working on that. If you want to watch, just pay attention. But try not to talk, okay, because I am recording and I'm going to put this on YouTube. So, and I want people to be able to hear. That's all right. There's not that many people who are going to be watching. So I don't think this is going viral anytime soon. So yeah, you are going to turn that in.
I'll pay for
Yes. But let me go through this first. Now look, this goes to 26. Do I really want to count up way up to 26? Not really. So I can just kind of guess where I think it's going to go. All right. So let's do the first one though. And I'll tell you what. Let's color coordinate them again.
Blue.
Blue. All right, we'll go blue. What do you want this one? We'll keep this one green. All right. So let's do the blue one. So y equals negative 5x. So the y-intercept is 0. It's right there, right? Because it's plus 0. So the y-intercept is 0. The slope is negative 5. So I'm going to go down 5 and over 1. So it'll be about like that. And then it should look something like this. Let's do the other one. Now the other one, it's way up there, isn't it? At 26. Now I'm not going to count. I don't even have to be all that accurate with this. I just want to get a general idea of what this is going to look like. And it's going to have the same exact slope, isn't it? You know what I'm going to do to make it have the same slope? I'm going to copy and paste it. I'll cheat a little bit. Try that on your pencil and paper. And let's make it green. Alright, so there we go. So we've got our two lines. Now, what do we want to do? I'll go orange this time. We want to go from one point to the other. I have two choices. I have two good choices, I should say. All right? I could go from here, perpendicular to the blue one. Or I could go here, perpendicular to the green one. It doesn't make any difference. You can pick either one. You have a preference? 0, 0? Okay, that might be a good idea because then you got easy numbers to work with. They're all zeros. So I want to make it look perpendicular, so there you go. And that would be the distance between the two. So what is this point? 0, 0. What's this point right here? I have no clue. So I'll call it xy. All right? And now, what's our first step? We want to find what first? The equation of two lines. Which two lines do I want to find the equation of? Well, the two that are making that point. The two that intersect to make this point right here. Which two lines make this point? Orange and green, that's right. I already know the green one, don't I? So let's write the green one down. Y equals negative 5x plus 26.
So we know the equation of the line that has the xy in it. So we use that equation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, look at it this way, though. Look at it, just say which two lines are intersecting at that point. Okay? Well, the green one and the orange one intersect to make that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, that's how I would look at it. Now, what about the orange one? Can I find the equation of that orange one? What do I know?
No 0.
Okay, well, let's do this. Let's do the intercept first, because I don't even have to think about that. What's the y-intercept?
0.
It's 0. Now we can do the slope. It's the, say it, Colton, what'd you say? The negative reciprocal of this slope right here. So what's our slope of the orange one then?
1 over 5.
Positive 1 over 5, right. So now I can write my equation. Y equals 1/5 x plus 0, right? And put that in a box. And I forgot to put that in a box. But there we go. So now what do we do to those two y's?
Set them equal.
Oops, went down a little too far. Set them equal to each other. Let's go different color here. We'll go this one. So let's set them equal. I always like the positive number to be on the left-hand side. I don't know about you. And then negative.
I get the negative sign mixed up with the equal sign, so I don't do it.
So I always like the positive to be on the left, because that means I'm going to take the negative and move it to the left. And it's just, I just feel more comfortable, don't you? Having the variable on the left-hand side. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to add a 5x. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add a 5x. Let's think. I'm not even going to write plus 5x. Let's change it so it has a 5 as a denominator. What would I change it into? 25 over 5x. See how easy that common denominator was to do? Because what's 25 over 5? It's 5. 25 over 5 is 5, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what I added over, isn't it? I just did a little bit in my head. Instead of writing out all the stuff, I knew that 5 was 25 over 5. And what's that equal to? 26. And then how do I get rid of this thing right here? How do I get rid of that? Oh, I'm sorry.
When you're 26 over 5.
Yeah, I forgot to add, didn't I? Getting ahead of myself. Let's add them up. What's 1/5 x plus 25/5 x? 26/5 x equals what? 26. I see something. I see something nice that's going to happen, don't you? How do I get rid of this?
You flip it.
That's right. Multiply by the reciprocal on this side. Put that over 1. Multiply this by the reciprocal. Look at that. Thank goodness. That ugly fraction turned out to not be so bad. So x equals what? 5. And now, let's use this one right here to solve for y. Y is 1/5 times x. What's x? 5 over 1. So what's y equal to? It's 1. So my point is 5, 1. That's this point right here. That's what I just found. Does it look like it could be close to 5, 1? Absolutely. Look, I went over 5, up 1, okay? And yeah, it really does. Make sure that it looks like it should be where it's supposed to be. And now you just do the distance, and that's pretty easy, right? So let's just do it. 5 minus 0 is 5 squared. 1 minus 0 is 1 squared. That's 25 plus 1 is 26, and it's the square root of 26, and I'm finished. We good?
Yes.
Okay.
Now those other ones above, like the coordinates, those are
Like 8, 9?
no, like 76 and 5.
Yeah, I did number 7 on YouTube. Okay, it's very similar to this. Now the fraction on number 7 gets pretty ugly,
Yeah.
but it might be a good idea to watch it and try to do it yourself
Those are the hard
to get it right.
problems, and they'll be easy.
All right, that's good. That's it. So I'm going to have both of these up on YouTube if you need to see them.